Hey guys, it's good to see you. We're going to be talking today about the issue that is literally being talked about around the world. It's been called the slap that was heard around the world because we were talking about the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock situation at the Oscars and what, where, why, how. I didn't know that I was going to do a live about this. When the incident happened, I was in just as much shock and disbelief as everyone else. And as time went on, I think that there's actually an opportunity here from a healthcare perspective to talk about some issues that I think need to be brought to light, that are being brought to light, I think, by many people, but still need to be. So let's talk about it. I see a lot of you guys are joining in. As we go through this live, I'd love for you to weigh in. I posed the issue to my Dr. Jen Superstars, my subscription group. A lot of people in my subscription group weighed in, and I have to be honest with you, no matter where I have looked to see how people feel, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or even other people's sort of lives or videos about it, the opinions vary. They vary quite widely. So I expect there to be wide-ranging opinions because literally that's what we're seeing across the world. So let me just give you some of the nuts and bolts details about this, okay? And I'm going to tell you what I think about it and where I'm coming from it, where I'm coming at this from is a healthcare perspective, as a medicine and sort of health perspective. Now, let's talk about some of the different variables here. Many of you guys have probably seen the video already. Chris Rock was making some jokes. He made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, and made a reference to G.I. Jane, I believe, the movie where the woman, the main character, maybe has a low-cut hair, in reference to Jada Pinkett's low-cut hair. In many of the videos I saw, it initially looked like, Will Smith might have been laughing. I couldn't tell if Jada was initially laughing or not, but at a certain point, it was very clear that Jada was not laughing. And Will, literally went up on stage. And again, I'm just sort of going off the cuff. You guys have seen this video. I'm not here to recount the accuracy, with accuracy what happened, but I just want to give you a general spiel. Will Smith goes up on stage and he smacks Chris Rock, and he further says, as he's back in his seat, leave my wife's name out of your bleeping mouth, okay? There's a lot to that. And then, about an hour later, which, by the way, as we all know, it seems like everybody in the room and people on TV were stunned. My mother said, "Oh, I remember there was a time, 20 seconds where the screen just went blank." I was like, "Yeah, Mom, this is what was happening." I sent her the video. So apparently a lot of people in the Oscars were also concerned, or rather didn't know if this was part of the act or whether this was real or whatever. Less than an hour later or so, Will Smith is accepting Best Actor for his role in the Serena and Venus Williams movie, which, by the way, was amazing, okay? What I want to do now is I want to list off pros and cons, okay? I'm not going to give an opinion about whether I think Will should have hit him or not. I'm going to give you some pros and cons, and I'm going to tell you some of the health implications of this, okay? And this is in no particular order. Many people I've talked to said that serves Chris Rock right. He should not have been laughing about Jada Pinkett Smith's medical condition. She has alopecia. Alopecia areata is what I've been told or what I've been reading. That's a medical condition she has, and he has no right to laugh at her and make fun of a medical condition that she has. That's an autoimmune disease. That was wrong and poor taste, and it serves him right that he was slapped by Will Smith. That is what some people are saying, okay? I have family members that are saying that. I have other family members and other friends and people that are saying, violence is never right. And rather, this was a display of toxic masculinity. Others are saying this was basic assault, okay? He literally went up and hit Chris Rock unprovoked. He assaulted him, okay? Others are saying that, hey, you know what? Comedians just tell jokes, don't they? They just tell jokes. This is what they do. Comedians tell jokes. You understand they tell jokes, right? So that's what some people are saying. Other people are saying you can't and shouldn't and don't joke about someone's underlying medical condition. That was wrong, and he deserves what he gets. While other people are saying comedians tell jokes. What are you getting mad at? Some people are saying, well, Will and Jada tell a lot of their own personal lives anyway. They got the red table talk, and they're always in the news talking about how they have open relationships, or they don't, or they do, or they don't. And, what's the big difference if someone else wants to comment about things they already talk about, okay? That's another thing. Then there are other people that are saying things like, well, you know what? I wonder if there's more than meets the eye. What if Chris Rock and Will Smith have some history? In other words, it just seems so not out of the blue, but I mean, Will Smith got up out of his chair and he sauntered onto stage and he slapped Chris Rock. And that was real, like real, on international television live, which by the way is a big deal. Some people are saying, well, you know what? I bet there is some beef before or something else is going on. Now, by the way, I have heard and seen in some of my watching today, because I've been watching and learning about this all day today, just to kind of, as we talk about this, talk about some of the different aspects. And I'm bringing up all these different aspects because my point, and this is not my medical point, but I need to make the point that this situation, just like so many, is multifaceted. There are many, many sides. And I'm not done with the sides. I'm still going, right? Or so. So anyway, so is there a past history? Is there something behind the scenes that we don't know about? Is this a trend? I mean, whatever. We don't know. Then there are other people that are saying, hey, but when you live in a public eye, kind of like along the lines of Jada and Will talk about their lives, when you live in the public eye, you don't have the right to, this is just what happens. You don't have the right to kind of decide what people say about you, okay? Some people are saying Will Smith snapped under pressure. And then other people are talking about, okay, well, what's going to happen to him? In other words, Will Smith was basically allowed to go up on stage and slap Chris Rock and then go sit down and actually watch the rest of the broadcast. Apparently Denzel Washington, and I'm wondering if it was Tyler Perry, took him over to the side during a commercial break. I saw some videos about that. And apparently Denzel Washington had some really wise words for him, which I thought were really beautiful, that that Will Smith mentioned in his acceptance speech, right? So perhaps people were trying to intervene. I don't know what other intervening was doing. I saw some articles where the committee, not the Olympic Committee, but the Oscars committee, were like in real time trying to decide if they were to do anything. But some people are saying, hey, he got off without a hitch. Will Smith was able to literally go up on stage, slap the mess out of somebody and sit back down, and then an hour later accept an award and take his time and give a speech. And some people are saying, how was that allowed? How was he not kicked out? Or how was he not reprimanded? Yes, the Oscars committee, they put out a statement saying that they don't condone violence. But some people are saying, where is the action item here? Where is the consequences for his behavior? And some are even saying, look, if this were someone else, if this were Kanye West, if this were somebody else, would they have been allowed to get away with this? Okay. Some people, as you guys are writing, were saying that Will Smith was fine with the joke until he saw his wife kind of roll her eyes, and then he wasn't fine with it. Okay. Look, the point being is, I'm just taking a look. And the last thing, I should give Chris Rock credit, because some people are saying, and I thought this was really interesting, and I can't say I disagree, because when Will Smith hit Chris Rock could have done a number of different things. I'm not saying what he did was right or wrong. I'm just saying he could have done a number of different things, right? And Chris Rock didn't try to fight him, didn't take a swing back, didn't lunge forward, which honestly some men or women might have done that. If someone came after you and hit you, might have gone after them. And Chris Rock, I think I saw this on The View, where they were saying that Chris Rock took the high road. And I can't necessarily say I disagree with that. All right, look, there are plenty of other angles. I just wrote down and recited the ones that I've seen from a whole day of sort of taking this in, okay? And I wasn't gonna take this in, but I woke up this morning after last night actually feeling like I had done something wrong. You know how when you do something wrong and you go to bed and you wake up the next morning, you're like, ooh, I'm still in trouble. I felt like I was in trouble. I had a really bad taste in my mouth from the Oscars last night. It didn't feel good. None of it felt good. And I actually went to bed kind of just, and I woke up with a bad taste in my mouth. I called my dad super early. We talked about how he feels. Again, my family, they're all over the map, just like most people in the world. So this is the thing, okay? So now let's bring it down to the medical aspect, or at least the medical aspect that I... a couple other things. Apparently Chris Rock is not filing charges. That was apparently released by the LAPD. And also, just as of in the last hour, it seems like the Oscars organization, they are going to be doing an internal review or an investigation of the events. And I guess they're going to be looking into it to see if something happens, to see if any disciplinary action or something like that happens. Who knows? All right. Now, there's plenty of other stuff to tell. Okay. I woke up this morning thinking, well, you know, does Will Smith feel bad? Then I saw him dancing at some of the after parties. That doesn't mean he doesn't feel bad, but he certainly enjoyed his night. I'm not putting any spots, because I'm not here to do that. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a social media. I'm not a pundit. I'm not a celebrity pundit or gospel. But let's talk about what we can talk about as a doctor. Let's go back to Jada, because Jada is really what this is about. Oh, last thing. And the other thing I should say that people are saying, and they are right, is that this event has completely overshadowed the Oscars. Questlove hardly got a half a mention because of this happened. Other people, other organizations, other things did not get their just due, where they may not ever have this moment in their lives again. And this event overshadowed it. And I feel bad for them as well, okay? So that is a very important and I think logical and fair angle that, hey, this thing has overshadowed the Oscars. Okay, from a medical standpoint, I want to go back to Jada, because Jada is really who I don't want to say who I care about the most. That's not the case. Jada has alopecia areata. That's an autoimmune disease. I did a video on that this morning, so check that out. And I have other videos on hair loss. Hair loss can be caused by a number of things. We lose around 100, okay, it's normal to lose about 100 hairs per day. That's normal. But if there's more than that, we should start looking into why, or if you've noticed changes in your hair, or what have you. Jada has alopecia areata. She apparently has been very, very transparent about this. I didn't see the video, but apparently she shaved her head on Instagram Live. Look, hair is personal. Hair is so personal. And even if it weren't, it doesn't matter. It's someone's health. You know, as a doctor, I can tell you, and you all are people, even if you're not a doctor like me, we know what it's like to be a human. And we know what it's like to be afflicted with things that we can't control, maybe with things we can control that we're struggling with, medical things that affect our health. You know, the patient or the person that you see that looks like they've gained weight, but you don't realize it's because they've been put on prednisone for an underlying condition you had no idea about. And you're wondering, oh, why can't they just work out harder? And why are they getting so big? Or maybe it's the person that doesn't seem to be coping as well as they used to. And you may, in your mind, either make jokes or they're crazy, but really they're going through mental health struggles that we don't know anything about. Or that person who now wears their hair short because that is the choice they've made in light of losing their hair when it wasn't their choice. These are just a few examples, and none of this is to shame this. What this is to sort of remind us how we have felt and how we feel when we're dealing with something that is deeply personal and something related to our health, and how really it should be off limits. This is where I will put my opinion in. As far as I'm concerned as a doctor, health is off limits. And one of the reasons why is because we don't know why and how and what someone's going through. You don't know what their life is like. You don't know if Jada wakes up every morning and sobs for 20 minutes before she can put her makeup on because of what she's going through with her hair. You don't know if that person that's gained weight, who's gained 50 pounds, and actually I talked to a patient a few weeks ago. Their antidepressant that they desperately need to be on is causing them to gain weight. And you don't know that if the person you see or know is gaining weight or behaving differently or has a funny leg or has to go through surgery or whatever, looks different, whatever, because of something that they really don't have much control over. And even if they do have some control over, you might say, oh, well, there's people with lung cancer. That's what you still don't make fun of that. As far as I'm concerned, and sorry for the bright light, the health is off limits. I just feel like it should be. Because in many ways it feels discriminatory, right? We don't always get a chance to ask for the genes we have and the situation and the setup. And yeah, there are some things we can do sometimes to affect the outcomes of our health, a lot of times, right? But not always. And that's one of the reasons why I've always felt that when it comes to somebody's underlying conditions and stuff like that, that's off limits, man. Because did they ask for that condition? Did they ask for that? And even if they did, that ain't right. That ain't right. So where my opinion comes in is, number one, this idea of This is a really, really important time and a good moment for all of us to take a step back and to think about how we look at others. Everywhere we go, we make snap judgments about people. It's what people do. It's what you do. It's what I do. We're human. You walk into CVS and you see somebody walking slowly. Why are they walking so slow? I got to go. Why are they walk? Maybe they just had a hip replacement. Maybe they got a bandage on their foot. Maybe they got something going on that you don't know. Maybe they're walking slow because they have heart problems or lung problems and they can't walk faster. Why are they always looking at me funny? Why are they always acting that way? Maybe they have a mental health issue that they're struggling with. Maybe there's something going on with their eyes. I mean, I mean this very sincerely. There's a lesson in this for all of us. Me too, for every one of us. That before we become quick to judge about what someone is or is not, and sort of looking at the surface and saying, oh my gosh, why does she walk like that? Maybe think, maybe there's something going on that I don't even know about. Maybe there's some inner struggle or inner turmoil or inner thing. And I guess that is the first thing I need to say is let's let this be a lesson in compassion and a lesson of non-judgment. Because we see people every single day at our workplace. Why is she always drinking coffee? Why is she drinking so much water? Well, maybe she's extra thirsty because she has a condition that makes her thirsty. And there are conditions that do that, by the way. Yes, I'm taking it to this extreme. But I'm just asking you, show some compassion to other people. We all have to do that. Before we judge and dismiss and make fun of and laugh at and criticize. Alexa, stop. I had Alexa set an alarm for me. Before we do that, let's take a step back and say, you know what? I don't really know what they're going through. I'm just going to abstain from judgment, from assumption, from opinion, okay? Unless you want to talk with someone and sort of learn their story. Okay, so that's one thing, okay? The second thing is violence. Let's talk about violence, okay? Now, I'm not going to get into whether Will Smith should be receive punishment. Well, this is what I will say about that. I mean, look, our actions sometimes reap punishments and consequences. They all do, right? Chris Rock's actions reaped a response from Will Smith that called him to be slapped on stage. Now Will Smith's actions of slapping him on stage may afford him some consequences as well. No, that's sort of life. But let me tell you, violence is not the answer. Okay, you have to say this. Now, yes, I have relatives, family members, friends, colleagues that are saying, I'm glad that he smacked him into Tuesday. He was wrong. And do I think Chris Rock was wrong? Yes, I do. Of course. Don't make fun of people like that. Health and stuff like that, that's. And I know people say, oh, he's a comedian. Because you don't know what someone's dealing with. You really don't. And I can say this as a doctor. I say this all the time to my patients. My patients, and you're right, Stephanie, you say, why was Will laughing himself? He was laughing himself at the beginning, and then he saw his wife Jada and he stopped. I don't know what process was going through his mind. Maybe it seemed funny at first. Maybe he didn't realize what he was laughing at. Maybe he did, and when he saw his wife's response, he said, ooh, I better not laugh at this. Could have been any of those. But the point being is, whatever happened, happened. Violence is not the answer, but I also don't think that disparaging someone because of their underlying health conditions is the answer either. That is my stance. Violence, not the answer. You know, disparaging someone, making them the butt of a joke, bullying them, talking about them because of underlying health conditions, that's not the answer either. And the bigger answer to me, or the bigger issue to me is, so how are we as a society going to behave differently as we move forward? How is this instance going to help us deal better with people? When someone does something crazy, or they say something crazy, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle it? When we see someone, we don't understand why they look the way they do, why they talk the way they do, why they act the way they do, any of that stuff. How are we going to behave? What I hope is that we give people the benefit of the doubt, and we give people grace, and we give them kindness and love, because once again, we never know what someone's going through. And yeah, you know, there's many different options with this situation. And I know you all have completely different opinions, and all of your opinions, you know what? I think I can almost say most all your opinions are probably right. All of them. Because there's like literally 50 million aspects to this situation. But let's also remember about Chris Rock and Will Smith, we don't know everything about them. And maybe that informed how they behaved last night. Doesn't make it right, right? But this goes to the point of we don't always know, so let's not judge. No violence. No making fun of people because of their health conditions. No. We don't make fun, and we shouldn't make fun of people that have certain disabilities or disability. We shouldn't. No, health to me is the same, because for some people, health conditions is a bit of a disability, or can be. It's wrong. But what's right out of this is, let's think about how we can treat others with more compassion, how we can give people the benefit of the doubt, how we can assume the best in people before we judge them to be worst or bad. And this is, I'm talking about not Chris Rock or Will Smith, I'm talking about people that we see with short hair, or who are extra tall and lanky, or who has gained a lot of weight and we don't understand. Before we judge them, let's take a step back and remember, we don't know what inner battles they might be fighting. Guys, let me know what you think. I had to come live and talk about this. I think this is important. It's an important moment for us all to sort of to reflect on. Okay, we'll see what the Oscars says. We'll see what transpires. Yes, actually, the other thing too is, some people are saying, and thank you, Shabana, some are saying that Chris Rock did not know of her condition, and he may not have known of her condition. And, you know, maybe that opens up another avenue or element. But what we can say is that she does have a condition. It's one of the reasons why this has been made so much worse. This is why this is so bad. So let's see if we hear from them. Let's see what the Oscars says. Let's hear. We have to wait and see. But no matter what happens, and the nuance, violence, not okay. No. Making fun of other people because of their medical conditions, not okay. Okay? And number 3, let's treat others with grace, love, and kindness. Okay? Guys, I love y'all. All right? Keep weighing in. And thank you guys for responding, okay? I think this is an important discussion. All right, guys, I love y'all. I'll talk to you soon.